Joe Budden. He had some harsh words on his podcast for Ak because Ak uploaded that
PNB Rock.
PNB Rock. My brain's farting. PNB Rock interview clip. Now, this is like probably the worst example for him to use of Ak posthumously uploading something because this was literally the most recent episode of Ak's podcast, right? And like we all see the format that he does. He drops podcasts on Spotify. He usually puts like 2, maybe 3, maybe 0, maybe 1 clips up on his YouTube channel of like the best shit that they talked about, you know? And so he had already dropped 1 clip of the PNB Rock interview, and then this happens, and he drops the other clip that I guess he had lined up to go live, which did sort of eerily echo exactly what ended up happening to him, where he talked about the whole concept of getting robbed for his jewelry and everything. I actually thought that it was like the worst example for Joe to use because that conversation just became it was already on Spotify, so it's already fucking there. It's already online. It's not like he added anything that wasn't already part of the public record. But I mean, his thoughts on that topic are like extremely important in that moment. And guess what? If Ak doesn't upload it on YouTube, you know what's gonna happen? Some fucking kid is gonna record it off of Spotify and upload it. And that it 100% would have happened and would have been titled way more salaciously and made its way around all the other fucking meme pages and Instagram pages, etc. if Ak hadn't done that himself. So
I mean, the same thing he held objection with you about as far as like uploading the content of someone right after they die.
Yeah, it was the exact same conversation.
That one is different though because this was actually his next episode, and it's like, come on, the man lost his life in Los Angeles talking about a robbery, and it's like, damn, he literally just said that he had problems with that. If anything, like putting that shit out would bring more awareness to the situation of how serious it is. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
I mean, like the reason why it went viral and why so many people clicked on it, myself included, was because hearing him talk about that just became extremely important in the aftermath of what actually happened to him. And that's kind of like what the whole conversation is about. It's like, is it okay to draw attention to your content when it is topical and of interest to the thing that is happening, but when it's something negative, like somebody losing their life? Because I remember having this realization because when X died, I think I tweeted a link to his interview and said, holy shit, I can't believe how different it is listening to this now. Like, this has just become such an important document.
Is that something along those lines? Was that the first thing you said?
No, it was like rest in peace, whatever. It might have been like the next day. But to me, that's
acceptable.
That's honestly what I was thinking. Was like, because that was like, for No Jumper, one of the craziest days for the channel itself, because it was like the most views we ever got in a day, was because millions and millions and millions of people flocked to that interview. And I was just kind of in this state of shock at like how many people were consuming it at that moment. And it's like, that doesn't take anything away from the fact that I was devastated about losing my friend, you know? Yeah. It's like, at that time, we didn't do anything with like re-uploading clips or anything, but I would feel like it was very odd if somebody were to have said that I was somehow in the wrong if we did so at that time, especially when you consider that everybody else is just going to do it with your content regardless, you know?
Well, it's tough because you're in the public eye. We're all in the public eye, right? And people process grief differently. And people have to normalize accepting different people's grief processes. You're in at that moment, you're in the throes of your grief. Right. And that's what you felt compelled to do. And people shouldn't put you under a microscope and like look at you no type of way as a result.
But the response was like the same thing as the Joe thing, where it's just like, oh my God, you're trying to make money by acknowledging your content. Like obviously that podcast exists to me. I wouldn't give a fuck if I made $0 to it. It was important to me because of the
I'm putting this month's revenue to X's family.
This is
that clip.
That would be nice. That is an unreal fucking. We are a business. We have to pay rent, or the mortgage, as the case may be. But regardless of that, like, we make content, and that content is important to me for reasons outside of money. But then for some reason, when someone dies and you draw attention to the content, people just shift to like, oh, you're trying to make money off it. It's like very weird thing where people just decide they want to add this sinister motive to it. When to me, the reason why I was sharing is not like, oh, if I tweet this, maybe I'm going to make like an extra $50 off YouTube ads.
Yeah, do they not know how shitty YouTube revenue is?
Well, who the fuck cares? It's just not. It's like so obviously not my intention. But in somebody's passing, people just basically decide to judge you by the harshest possible criteria.
It all depends on the motive, though. Like you said, like you said that when X died, you felt a certain type of way. You actually went to the interview.
Right.
And, in Akademiks, if this just happened and it's relative to what he's talking about, it's like, hey, let me put this out there so y'all can see what this man just said. That put more awareness on the situation. But if the man, you didn't give a fuck about him or his family, you just did an interview with him. Let's say somebody you did an interview with 3 years ago, and then it's just like, oh, they just died right now? Let me throw this shit up there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to say nothing. Hey, rest in peace, anything. Hey, roll the clip. To me, that's fucked up.
I don't know why that's fucked up, though. This is like the whole thing we're talking about. Why is that fucked up? To draw attention to content that people want to see at a time when they are looking for it.
That's not really drawing attention to it. That's monetizing it.
No, it's drawing attention to it. As a result, you do monetize it because all content on YouTube is monetized unless you turn it off. But we always end up at the same part in the conversation. To be honest.
Look. I want to say that I was in like kind of a similar situation where I'm about to like drop this merch or whatever that I had people make for my mom that my mom just passed away, and it's like people thinking that I'm like made a bunch of money off this shit, nigga. I only made like a certain amount in sales, and I had to use almost that amount to pay to get the shirts produced and shipped. So it's like
you're not making a profit on the shirts,
but it's also for
Not
your,
at
but
all,
it's for
really.
your mom
Why?
though.
like barely.
What's the issue with
how
that?
does that
though?
work?
What's the issue with that? Like,
It's because to get all this shit screen printed is expensive as fuck, bro.
But I mean, if you make a hoodie for like $100, you're selling it for $100, and you sell it for like $200.
I mean,
I don't even know what you mean, because obviously everything in streetwear
what's wrong
costs
with you
way
making-
less
I
to
don't-
make. No, there's nothing wrong with you making money off it. I'm just
The
saying,
whole
like,
point was to help
obviously,
pay for the
the
funeral.
point was to pay for the
Yeah.
funeral with it, but
right.
yeah,
but something must have gone wrong if you're paying the same amount to make it that you're selling it for, right?
and I didn't say that it was like the exact lineup like that,
Right.
but it was pretty close. I'm not gonna lie. Like the profit was only like a couple grand,
Okay,
to be honest.
but what were people even taking issue with, right? Because
People were acting like I was like
Like you're scamming.
Yeah, or not even scamming, but
Oh no, they were pissed at you
that
for
I'm-
like buying $700 jeans.
okay.
They're like, look at him, he's a hypocrite because he's like raising money for his funeral, but then he also bought $700 jeans, which I guess I can kind of see the point. But then
But I buy shit like that with my own money all the time, that's exactly what I did.
anyone
part
who
of his
knows
monthly
What the fuck
overhead.
do you niggas got to do?
People
with
are going to
me
judge.
buying,
Listen,
me buying myself shit with my own money.
one thing I learned about doing this shit,
Yeah.
they put everybody under
It's
a
crazy.
microscope. If
Right.
you're not perfect,
I really don't.
they're
give
gonna
a shit.
call out whatever the fuck it is. So it doesn't matter. Like,
But it's like, okay, if you're a fan of House Phone and you want to donate to something regarding House
Yeah.
Phone, you already know that he's the kind of guy that's going to buy $700 jeans. So you've already kind of accepted that it's
I
not
already
like
had the $700.
it's not like you're just going to cop Wranglers the next day and totally switch your whole style up
I
because you
already-
made some money for a charitable thing.
already had the $700 jeans and already took them to an alteration lady, had them at the alteration for a week, and then just picked them up.
but if they're thinking like, oh,
So
we're donating to
That
the
was
funeral.
like about 2-3 weeks that I just explained right there.
No, but they're thinking,
And that's part of your monthly overhead, regardless, right?
Like, nigga, I gotta get fly for the show.
I'm not going to lie, though. There is something about the fact that this is like an $800 polo shirt that I'm just not going to do a GoFundMe. I don't give a fuck if I get the gnarliest
Yeah.
fucking cancer in the world. I'm just not doing it because I just think that doesn't really like sit right with me. Like if I'm choosing to spend money
Yeah.
in such a free-spirited way,
Mhm.
I probably shouldn't be asking my fans who make a lot less money than me to
Yeah.
basically
Well, that's
pay
why-
for my lifestyle.
That's why I didn't ask for a GoFundMe. That's why I did.
Right.
That's
It's
why I
merch. It's
did
like
the
something people
merch,
can wear. Yeah. It's
You know what I'm saying?
All right, people, we just hit 300,000 subscribers. You know we're trying to hit 400,000 subscribers. So that little red button, tap it, tap in. We appreciate y'all.